This is chapter 18 of Flotsam. Prisoner. Amy opened her eyes and groaned. Her head throbbed. She felt groggy, dizzy, and confused. She had been placed on a chair with her hands tied behind her back. The room was dark and damp. The only light was from a couple of lanterns set on the floor a few feet away from her. "Glad you're finally awake," the familiar voice of Mr. Locksley growled. The repulsive man held a lantern aloft. When he smiled, the eerie light from the lantern made his face look demonic. He was wearing a green hat with a feather in it. He had painted his face in earthly brown and green colors. He had a self-righteous air about him, which then, combined with green clothes and scruffy beard, made him look altogether medieval and very Locksley-like. "Welcome to Locksley's secret cave," the man said. "Tristan here says you've been already visited. Now that you are awake, we can finally begin our treasure hunt." Amy looked at him confused. "Treasure hunt?" "Yes, treasure hunt. Tristan, get over here." Tristan had a big bruise on the side of his face and an angry glint in his eyes. He, too, was dressed similarly to Locksley. "The list," Locksley commanded. "Get it." Tristan pulled out Mr. Heckler's list of lost things from his pocket and handed it to Locksley. "See this?" Locksley said, holding it in front of Amy's nose. "Yeah?" Amy nodded. "Well, Tristan here seems to think that you have a gift for finding lost things, and we've lost something very important. Something so important that if you don't find it for us, your friend Briar and your beloved dear Flotsam will end up with an arrow through their hearts. You understand what I'm saying?" Amy could see the faint outline of Flotsam in the far corner of the cave. He was tied to an old tire. His eyes looked wistful and worried. Briar lay crumpled on the ground with his hands and feet bound. Amy looked at Locksley and nodded. "Okay, I'll help you find it. Just don't hurt my friends." Locksley smiled. "Good. You are much smarter than you look." Amy sighed wearily. "So what is it that you've lost?" "I didn't lose it," Mr. Locksley shot back. "Tristan did." "Okay," Amy said, glancing at Tristan. "What did Tristan lose?" "Money!" Locksley shouted. "My money! Lots of it!" Amy looked at Locksley with a blank face. "Guys, I'm going to need a little bit more information than that if you want me to find your money." Mr. Locksley nodded and paced back and forth in front of Amy. "See, this is the story. Tristan hawked my drugs and took the money and gave it to his no-good double-crossing mother with a plan to ditch me, then sail off into the sunset together. His mother, however, ditched him, nearly ran him over at a gas station just out of town, and took the dough." Amy nodded, feeling sorry for Tristan. He was one of the many who were lost, just like herself. "Tristan," she said, "in order to get a clear picture so I can find the lost money, I need to know what your mother looked like. She's got dark hair." Tristan paused and glanced at Locksley. "If we find her, you won't hurt her or anything, will you?" "No!" Locksley thundered. "Of course not. Now finish explaining to the girl." Tristan glared at Locksley for a minute, and then proceeded with his description. "She's skinny. She has an earring in her nose. She has a nice smile. And she smokes a lot." He smiled, feeling proud that he remembered so much. "Okay," Amy murmured, closing her eyes. "You promise you won't hurt Briar or Flotsam if I tell you?" "Yes," Mr. Locksley said. "We won't hurt them, on my word as the greatest outlaw that ever lived." Amy smirked. "That's comforting." "Yes," Locksley agreed. "It is that. So do your thing, and tell us where the money is." Amy closed her eyes and concentrated hard. Things attached to people were much harder for her to find, probably because they were constantly moving. Amy murmured, "she's somewhere crowded. On a bus, I think. The money's in a black case, by her feet." "On a bus to where?" Locksley asked. It's kind of fuzzy. I think her ticket says Wyndham." "Yes, she's going to Wyndham." "Ah! She's in Wyndham. What luck. That's only a little ways from here. Wonderful, wonderful news. We'll have the money before night is out." He laughed and grabbed his bow, a quiver full of arrows, and headed to the cave door. "Come on, Tristan. I want you to be there when I get the money back." Tristan looked at Locksley with frightened eyes. I don't know." "What do you mean you don't know? Get over here now, Tristan, ye ostrich poison twig brain. You're coming with me whether you like it or not." Tristan cast Locksley a dark glance, grabbed his own handmade bow and a quiver of arrows, and followed Locksley out the door, taking their lanterns with them. When the door closed, the room became instantly dark. All that could be heard was the wind howling outside, the angry rumble of thunder, and the pattering of rain.